welcome everyone to our second webinar in partnership with the .com. Really excited for this one. The .com has been a tool that I've been really excited to see close up because I think it's got a really interesting approach to web design in general. And we're lucky enough to be joined by the founders, Jeff and Clarke, who are going to give us a walkthrough. And then we might have some time for questions at the end as well. So I'm not going to take up any more time, but I'm going to pass right over to Jeff and Clarke.
Thanks, Joshua. Appreciate it. Yeah, we're excited to be here. I think we tried this demo a couple weeks ago and had some technical difficulties. So we're coming back in and going to be showing you guys what we were building last time. We're really excited about it, and it's going to be a fun little build session. So for anyone who hasn't signed up yet for the .com, you can go ahead and go to the.com and go sign up really quickly so that you have an account to follow us along. For anyone else who already has it, thanks for being a part of the community and excited to kind of showcase what we can do here. So if everyone's good and has an account and ready to follow along, just do like a little thumbs up. We used to say hundreds in the chat, but I think they took away the 100. So now you can just do the celebratory one. Oh, where'd you guys get that?
You have to hit the three dots.
Oh my God, that's amazing. All right, hundreds. Everyone throw up hundreds for when they're ready. Beautiful.
Yeah, did we give everybody the link to join? Let's add this in here. Everyone can sign up for free if they want to follow along. Sign up with Google really quick. app.com/join.
Let's show everyone what the kind of final product would look like, what we're trying to build.
Yeah, for sure. So once everybody signed up, I can share my screen here, and we're going to be building this portfolio page. It's something, like I said, we did a quick demo of a week or two ago, but we're just going to be running through this. And the ideal outcome for this is you have a beautiful one-page website here, and you'll have a list of portfolio items that will continue to scroll down vertically here with this little slider in here, so you can showcase like 3 snapshots of whatever your portfolio item is. And then on the left, we got like a little bit of text and a fun emoji, and then just some basic information down here.
Shout out to Brooklyn-based designer from Guatemala, Andres Maza. You know, Clarke, we should have brought Matthew in at some point to see if he knows Andres in Brooklyn.
Well, it's funny. I'm going to be stealing Matthew's portfolio items. So we just hired a new designer, and they're super fun and badass. And I went to their dribble to steal their portfolio items so that we can use that today.
It's like you're getting some chat messages. What's that all about?
Yeah, we have an internal chat here which allows you to message people. Hey, what's up? Sorry. Good founders call.
Yeah, what's really cool about our chat, everybody, with .com is when you spin up a new site and you invite someone to that site, it will spin up a channel automatically in the chat that's specific to you guys in that one site. So when you're working with a team and you spin up that new site together and you start working on it, Clarke, if you could show them like a site-specific chat up at the top here, you can see there's all the sites that Clarke's invited someone to. And then it's just you two or however many people you invite, you can see they're all inside that one chat. So you can work together and really collaborate right inside the editing experience.
Sweet. All right, let's get to building here. So I'm just going to go back to my profile. So when you sign in, we throw you directly into a site so you can kind of get familiar with what exists. But to get back to your profile, which has all of your sites, you can just click on that little Tetra logo on the left side of the command bar that you saw me click on. I'll show you one more time in here. It's just this little icon here to get back to your profile. So you can click on that. And then once you're back at your sites, this is all the projects that you're currently working on. You'll have like your getting started site in there if you just signed up. And what we want to do today is create a new site and add this beautiful design into it. And part of the concept with the .com is that we wanted to make website building more community oriented and collaborative. So you can actually take this design from somebody else who's given it into the community, and you can do that through the feed. And I'm going to show you how to do that today. So just go to your profile and click create site here in the command bar, and we'll be generating a new site for you. This has got all of this amazing infrastructure already set up in a couple of seconds, along with the SSL and everything you need to publish your site, ready to go. And we can rename this if we want to give it a little nickname. Let me know when everybody's good to go on having their new site up and running.
Yeah, do we have thumbs up from people who clicked create site? Anybody in there? Sweet.
Cool. All right, so now we're gonna do a little bit of magic here. We're gonna go over to our command bar and click on this thing called feed. And this is a community feed full of all of the work projects, blocks that people have given to the community to remix from. So, you know, you can like add these little chat bubbles, or maybe you want to add this emoji particle pop every time you click, or maybe these sections of your site or a navigation. And all of this is free to use, and the original creator gets credit every time you use that. So this one's been used 57 times, 11 times, 28 times. So today we're going to be taking this portfolio page here. All you need to do to remix it is simply click on it, and it's going to pull up all of the sites associated with your account. You can see I've got this new one that I've already named NCF demo, and I can click add to site here. And so you'll see at the top of the screen, it says remixing. What we're doing is actually creating a complete copy of this and then assigning ownership to that original creator, all within this process. And so we get little confetti once that's done, and you'll see that this went up to 45. So now that original creator, which happens to be us, gets credit for that. And you get to use that item without it being affected by any changes the original creator might make to this. So now that we've got that inside of our site, you could have clicked at the top to say open site. If you didn't, you can always go back to your profile and click on that site here to edit it. And what you'll notice is the editing interface is very, very different than anything you might have used in the past. And that's really on purpose. We wanted to take like a fundamentally different approach to website building and really be focused around kind of like data and some of the automation that we were really, really hungry for as an agency. So you'll notice that everything's set up in a table format, and whether it's pages, blocks, which we just saw a bunch of blocks in the feed, sheets, which we're going to introduce today, and media, all of this just lives inside of a table. And so it's a really easy way to have like a 10,000 foot view and manipulate anything that's happening on the screen. You'll notice we've got a single page in here, which came in from that feed. It's called portfolio page. And we also have the images that it brought in for us. So if you want to edit this, all you have to do is hover over it and click on it once. And that's going to open up the page to be edited. Let me know when everyone's in here and good to go. Hundreds. Cool. And so once you're inside of the page, you'll notice you have this really cool inspect element mouse. And this is going to tell you all of the items that are on the page and kind of like the structure of the HTML and how things are set up. And so if you want to edit anything on here, you simply just click on that item, and it's going to open up that correlating HTML element with the text that you want to be able to change. So you'll see in here, there's a couple of empty elements, and these are line breaks to create these empty spaces here. And you can check out what any of these items are by clicking on the little icon here if you're not sure what they are. But if you click on, Brooklyn-based designer, you simply double click inside of this. You can change anything you want. And you'll notice it keeps all of the existing style. So we're just manipulating this one part of it. And that's like this atomic approach to the whole editing experience, where all the styles are nice and clean. They're still editable, but they're going to be maintained while you're messing with content like this. And if you want to see more of what you're editing anytime you're in an editing mode, you can hit on Mac Command Enter, and it will create a full screen version of the cell. So you can type more stuff, see everything. And this doesn't just apply to the content and the HTML. So, you know, if I was clicking on this or on this, I could obviously change any of those items here, but it also relates to the style as well. So let's say I wanted to change the background color of the whole website. I could find where the inspect tells me I'm looking at the whole site. And then I'm on this top row here. We've got all of these styles to the right, and these are in essence CSS styles. So you're going to be learning how to manipulate CSS as you go through the build experience. All you have to do to find what you're looking for is hit Command K, which is the command palette, and this is like a single source of navigation throughout the app. You can search for something like background color, which happens to come up first here for us, and select that, and it's going to automatically navigate us to that correlating column here. And so right now it's got a color of white, which is represented by this hex code, but you can use RGB or HSL or whatever you want. And as you hover over the inputs, it's going to let you know what the page is going to look like. So, you know, if we went black, we'll notice we'll have to change a lot of the text. But this bisque color is kind of nice. Maybe I'll do that. These are all
little lobster bisque.
Little lobster bisque, you know.
Little lobster bisque on a Thursday.
A little bit of that East Coast lobster bisque. It actually looks really nice.
I like it. I like it actually.
So the reason why all of these funny named colors are in here, these are like true CSS colors that are part of the CSS library. And one of our engineers is like obsessed with how goofy all the names are. So they wanted to put all of these into the input suggestions. So shout out to Jackson for that one. Cool. So if you've made your style edits, you're like feeling good about your content and some of the styling, whether that's custom fonts, text sizes, colors, anything like that. And if you guys have questions at the end, I can show you how to do anything on here. But the next thing that we're going to want to do is like automate the rest of the website build. So let's say we've got a bunch of projects and like, I don't want to duplicate out this project over and over and have to change each bit of content like one by one. I'd rather just like create my own micro CMS for this and then be able to just change that and it will update automatically on the screen. So I can show you guys how to do that if you want to see it. It's pretty cool. Thumbs up. Hundreds. Sweet. All right, so we've got this custom the.com element that we've created called a sheet feed. And let's go over what a sheet is so that we can use a sheet feed. If I navigate back to my home, and make sure too, you're always saving your work. You can hit Command S to do that or the save button. But if I navigate to my overall site, we've got this concept in here called sheets. And sheets are really badass because they're pretty much just blank databases that you get to connect information to. And so it's custom and it's up to you how you want to do things. It's super powerful. So you could upload a CSV to this, or you could just create from blank. So let's go ahead and do that. You'll notice it says creating sheet, and it gives you the option to name. I'm just going to hit enter and take the name sheet. But if you wanted to call it, you know, portfolio list or whatever it is, you can do that. And then I'm just going to hover over. Once it turns blue, I'll click in. You'll see my whole screen gets covered by this primitive called a sheet. And we can pick the items that are related to this portfolio piece on the homepage and choose which items of these I want to like update based on my own like little CMS that I'm making. So we can navigate back to the portfolio page here, and I can look at this portfolio item and I can say, okay, we've got a title, we've got a link, which is going to have two items, the text and the actual URL. And then I've got 3 images that scroll over and over. So easy enough, I can follow that structure. So I'll go back over to my sheet and I'll say title, and then I'll say link text, then URL, then image 1, image 2, and image 3. So this is kind of like the structure that I want to define for myself. If I didn't want to change the portfolio title, I don't have to. If I didn't want to change one of the images, I don't have to. But this is kind of what I'm feeling good about. And the fun of the .com is it's really up to you to decide on what's changing and how you want to connect things. So now that I'm feeling good about that, I can use this custom .com element called a sheet feed and pull information in from here. And it's going to be super cool to watch. So I'm going to make sure I hit Command S. So we save that. Go back over to the portfolio. And I'm going to find where my inspector tells me the portfolio item is. And I'll see I've got a couple things inside of the right side of my site. I've got, in HTML terms, I've got an unordered list, which is going to be the list of portfolio items. And then I've got that list item inside of there. And the list item is this first portfolio section that contains the title and the link and the images. So in between those two things, if I collapse the list item, I get this little blue plus button. And the blue plus means I can add an element or a block. And I want to do that nested inside of this unordered list here. So all I have to do is click that, and it's going to ask me if I want a block or an element. And I'm going to choose element. And then this is going to give me a list of all the possible elements I could add. If I wanted to, add another bit of text, like a description or something, I could do that. But I'm going to add this sheet feed here. So all I'm going to do is search for sheet feed and select this. And it's going to bring up any sheet that exists on my current site. So right now I only have one, and it's called sheet. But if there's 50 on here, it would pull all of those up and I could pick from those. And when I select that, it's now going to be telling the screen, hey, we're pulling information from that sheet that we set up before. So that looks good. And I'm going to drag this up and in between these two items. And then I'm going to drag this list item on top of the sheet feed, which is going to nest it inside of there. So now I have this sheet container around my list item. And that's now telling the screen that for everything that gets added to the sheet, create another one of these list items for me. And I don't have to do any of the work. Does that all make sense so far? We're not seeing any of the visuals yet because we haven't added anything to that sheet, but looking good, feeling good? Sweet. Okay, cool. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to pick the parts of this list item after I uncollapse it that connect to this sheet that we set up. So the first item I said was portfolio item. So I'll double click and I'll delete this and hit equals capital A. And that's going to take that first item. And then the next thing was this link, which is this yellow icon here. And that was equals B. So now you can see the link text changed. And then the next column was C for the actual URL. And then if I keep scrolling down, there's a few containers here, and then you can see I've got an image. Okay, let's change this first image to be equals D. And then the next one equals E and equals F. Okay, cool. This is all now connected to my sheet, and anything I change inside of my sheet, it's going to pull directly into the site. So let's go ahead and make sure we save that with Command S. And if we go back to the sheet, we can start filling this out, and it's going to generate a new portfolio item every time we fill this out. So for this first one, let's put in UX UI for the title of it, and this will be like user testing or something for the name of that. URL, you can put whatever you want. And then for the images, we can just drag these directly in. So I've got these I saved again from Matthew's portfolio. I'll drag this in to image 1, and this one in to image 2, and this one in to image 3. And you'll see that this takes GIFs, it takes WebPs, it takes JPEGs, PNGs, whatever you want. So these are a couple of GIFs in here. And let's put another one in there so we can see this come to life. I'll do IBM work. And Matthew used to work at IBM and helped create their Make Lab, which was like a screen printing and artist center there. Super cool. Make the title of that text that. I'll do link there, and then whoops, throw these in here. This, Cool. So now you can see I'm starting to build out this portfolio list of all of my possible things that I want to showcase, the names, titles, links, all that stuff. And because we've set up the connection in the full system to the existing page, all this is going to pull in automatically and then duplicate on its own. So let's go see what that looks like. Let's go ahead and save. And then go back to our portfolio page. And you can see that we've got an empty one up top, which is connected to that title row. So we'll get rid of that. And then the following ones after that are showcasing this work that we've added in here. So super cool. I want to make sure that we get rid of that first title item. So I'll just go to my sheet feed here and I'll hit this little quarter menu and hit attributes. And then I'm going to change the starting row here to 2 instead of 1. And so that means we're just going to skip that first title row. Sometimes you need it, sometimes you don't. So we like to let the creator decide on that one. And if I hide this using Command E, I can see I've got my 2 portfolio items in here. It's like that last one we didn't connect correctly. Let's go see what happened there. Oh, I messed that one up. Equals F. Cool. So now each time we add an additional row inside of our sheet, we're going to get a new portfolio item with all of the pertinent information here. And it's so fun because we set this whole thing up custom, right? We like decided which things we're going to connect. Then we created our own little CMS where we decided which one of those items we're going to pull through. And then we can add those every time. It's just going to generate another item for us. So you can imagine how powerful this is for like a set of team members or a directory, or anytime you're like repeating the same information. It's super, super helpful. And we're actually coming out with the ability to do this with full pages and full sites. So you can imagine like you want to build like a real estate agent business, like a no-code, low-code real estate agent business. You can actually create one of these sheets and connect each one of those items in the row to an entire site that you've remixed from the feed. And then every time you get a new real estate agent signed up, you can maybe take in their information from the form, spit that into the sheet, and it will automatically generate a site. So there's a lot of opportunity here to automate and generate some of your website building. Cool. And then when you're feeling good about it and you're excited, you click deploy, and this is going to build out the page for you and publish it out. You can see my automated messages are going out to people that are signing up. And if I want to view this, you see I've got my built out site here live on the web, ready to be shared with everybody.
And everybody, you actually get 6 sites for free on .com connected to a domain name. So you could play around with making 6 of these sites before having to worry about paying for anything. So that's pretty cool thing that we just introduced about a month and a half ago.
Cool.
Sweet.
So any questions? Who wants to know how to change stuff, edit stuff? Did anybody miss a step and needs a little bit of help? How are we feeling?
I've got a question about the sheets side of things. So I'm wondering like what kind of control you can have over the data that's pulled from the feed. So for example, could you have, so you showed us like you can start it from row 2, for example, but could you do something like stop it at row 7 or only show certain rows or something like that based on data fields?
Yep, exactly. So if I go back to the sheet feed and I open up the attributes, let's drag this up. I can choose the number of rows. I can also sort by it, and I can choose the deprecated number of rows. So like if we picked starting at row 6, we could say take 7 rows, and then all I'd have to do is say 6 and then 7, and it will actually just take that section, and every time you add, it'll continue to move down the list. So I can show you in another quick way how we're doing that on our site that we're about to publish for ourselves, which is a very big, robust site here. But we've actually set up our entire navigation around the same premise. So there's a block inside of a sheet feed for our navigation that has all the drop-down items. And anytime I add a nav item inside of my sheet, it will adjust to the number of rows. And so all I have to do is add or delete a URL, and then it'll automatically pump that through and then put it out into the design.
Cool.
So I'll go to navigation menu here. And inside of this navigation menu, we've got our new experience here, which allows you to have some drop downs inside of these items. And let me pull this up so you can see. So we've got all of these elements, tons and tons of elements, but underneath our build, we've got this sub menu block, which has all of our sub menu items in there. And this is actually, if I open this block up, we've got a sheet feed inside of this pulling from a sheet called sitemap. So if I open sitemap, and this is really complicated, but I just want to show you guys like the power. Now I've got inside of my first dropdown, I've got my first item, which is build, and then I've got all of these dropdown items. And if I add one like /handoff and just type that in there, that'll actually add that into the dropdown list. So there's a ton of control you can have. It's just about how deep you want to get in and how much of an engineering perspective you want to take on things.
Very cool, thanks.
Another cool thing about Sheets too is you can connect to Zapier if you want. So if you wanted to pull this information in from somewhere else, like you wanted to create an Insta feed or a set of YouTube videos that you like, or maybe you want to pull in raw data from Sheets, Google Sheets or Airtable, all of that's really easy. You can just connect that up and pump this information in, and then every time you add something in Airtable somewhere else, it'll actually add that row here. And then you can set this toggle on for automatically deploy once you've made a change. So really, if you wanted to connect this out to an Airtable, you could do that and never touch the .com again and just add rows. And then when those rows are added or deleted, it'll publish that over here. Who wants to share what they've put together? Riley?
I broke mine, so I don't know if that's a good example.
What happened? Anything we can help with?
I think it was something to do with the sheet feed and connecting it properly.
Yeah, why don't you share your screen and we can
for sure
get it going.
Okay.
Cool.
I was about to just like start from the beginning.
So you added an unordered list again.
Oh, I did. Okay. But hold on. That might be the same one. And I just took out the...
Yeah, so scroll down a little bit more. A little more.
Make this bigger.
Yeah. All right, on the right side. Okay, I see what you did. So collapse that list item there. That's underneath right. And then drag that whole unordered list above the list item. Yep. Perfect. And then drag the list item on top of the sheet feed and let go. There you go. Cool. So now all of that stuff should be connected up there. Let's scroll down a little bit. Equals A, B, C. Cool. So you missed one of those items at the bottom there. And go back up a little bit for me. Cool. So go back to your sheet, and have you added anything inside of the sheet yet?
I just started with text. I didn't have the images yet.
Yeah. So let's fill these out here so we can see what this will look like, and you can just throw whatever. Sweet.
Let me find an image. Okay.
Cool. All right. Now, if you go back here, since you dragged some stuff around, you might have screwed some stuff up.
I know. I feel like I should just like try to get back to the original.
Yeah, you might have to remix this item, and since you drag that stuff up and down. Oh,
this is the original.
Yes. Cool.
Okay.
Sweet.
I think it's good for now.
Yep. Cool. So click on the unordered list, exactly, and then click that plus button in between unordered list and search for sheet feed and choose sheet. Oh, you can't type it. You have to, that's the difference there. So,
okay.
Type, you can just edit it if you want. X out of that and then double click on where you typed sheet.
Oh,
not on the label, but there, yeah. And then just select that item that's very hard to see above that.
Okay. That's why. Okay, great.
Cool. And now drag that up above the list item in between, exactly. And then on top of that.
Okay.
There you go. All right, cool. So now hit the corner menu for sheet feed. Yeah, and go to attributes and then change 1 to 2. Cool. And you can X out of that where it says attributes. Beautiful. And then just set these items up. So project equals A, suite equals B. Cool. You already have equals C in there.
It's pulling
D, E, F there.
It's all the same image. So.
Right. Sick. But there you go.
Nice.
Looks groovy. I like that you're a groovy designer dropping fire designs.
That's right. That's right.
I love it. Sick. Great job.
Awesome work. Yeah, that's awesome.
Fun stuff.
Cool. Any other questions? No? I'm impressed. I'm impressed if there's no other questions.
Love to hear from people in the chat. What are you guys building? Are you founders?
Yeah, what are you guys working on?
Guy, Eric, Mona Lisa. I don't want to botch the last name, the last one. What was the previous demo regarding?
So the demo has been for the .com, which is a website building platform that takes a completely unique approach to website building, and it's focused around data and automation and community built blocks. So you can take things like a navigation or a footer that's made by somebody else and just throw it onto your site, and then you can manipulate how you want that to look and automate the rest of your page building. So it's super cool, and would be happy to give more demos down the road, or Jane could get your info and she can invite you to other stuff.
I have a question around Sheets. When it comes to like other types of media, let's say like video or audio, or even for a wacky example, like font files, is that a possibility, or are there some limitations as far as setting up some kind of system for inserting that kind of data?
Yeah, great question. So any other media type, like a video, you can totally add into the sheet, and you would just need the element that you're connecting it to. Instead of it being an image, it would need to be a video element. But you know, if you wanted that to be like a embeddable YouTube video, you could paste the embed code into one of those cells too, and then have that connected if you want. And then for things like font files that are more on the style side of things, you can do that as well by just hitting equals in the sheet and then going and navigating towards that font space and then connecting it there by selecting the cell.
Cool. That makes sense.
Yep. Cool. Joshua, what are we thinking?
Awesome. That was amazing. Thank you so much for showing us that. So yeah, I was completely blown away by the power of it. I had imagined it to be like more of like a beginner tool that allowed people to mix things up, but like you can see how far you can take it by combining some of these things, and especially with like the Sheets database and then Zapier integration. Yeah, could be like a massive game changer. So, and yeah. I hope it is.
Yeah, appreciate that. And I think that's what we've seen a lot of people who don't have a web background who've come into the .com and become a community member. First of all, you get a ton of support by the existing people on here. So if you have any questions and you want to learn, like hop in, ask questions. I think a lot of people on the team are happy to help as well. But it's really fun to just learn how the web actually works, because you know, when you're stuck with kind of like these beginner tools, it really removes you from the way the web truly exists and is truly structured. And the problem with that is, like, when you have that big idea and you want to do that bigger thing, you have a disconnect between like what you assume the web is and what you're actually trying to accomplish. And there was a light bulb that went off for me when we started building this platform. You know, I was a designer, so I spent a lot of time like designing things and then maybe tweaking things based on like what somebody else had built for me. And you get really frustrated because you're like, why is this not doing this thing? And you know, why is this editor like putting empty space somewhere that it's not telling me that there's empty space? And we wanted to get rid of that whole experience and like showcase the stuff and help people learn how to build things and what things mean. And I can show you inside of here, if like any of this stuff is super scary to you, you can always just click on the column title and it's going to give you a quick look at what these items are related to, like line height, tells you how spaced out these items are. And for me, it's a ton of fun discovering this stuff, because like once you realize that there's this whole category called transform, and there's all these things you can do to like animate something when you hover it, it just becomes like really exciting. And you feel limitless, you know, and you realize that the entire web is actually just the same couple of elements with some unique styling to it. And it's not like this whole huge, deep, dark space. It's actually pretty easy to learn, and you just got to have a little bit of the want to get out there and learn it.
That's awesome.
Cool.
And yeah, we're going to be sharing a lot more about the .com in the coming months. So please stay tuned for that. There's going to be all sorts of resources to help people get started and learn how to build businesses and their own projects with this tool. So yeah, so I'd just like to say thanks again to Jeff and Clarke for joining us, taking us through this quick deep dive into the .com. And we will be hosting another webinar in a couple of weeks. Next time it's going to be with Zano.com, which is a back-end tool. They're going to be showing us how to use APIs and build a database with Zano. So tune in for that. That's the 21st of April, same time. But yeah, thanks everyone for joining. Thanks, Jeff and Clarke, and we'll see you next time.
Awesome.
Thanks, everybody.
Cool. Thanks. We'll see you later.
Bye.